been on a waiting list or had to wait for something? Yes. Imagine you're waiting online for a movie ticket and it's taking a little while. You get impatient, a little frustrated, but eventually you get your ticket and see your movie. The line Jacob Perez is on is a bit longer. His mom tells Fox News on November 20th, 2016, that Jacob has a rare disease called microvillus inclusion and must be hooked up to an IV for 18 hours each day. This disease prevents Jacob's body from absorbing nutrients and eating solid food. Jacob waits on the list for not one, but 5 organs from a child the same size. The daily updated Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network data reports that on average, 22 people die every day while waiting for an organ transplant. For the Perez family, every day is a waiting game. However, there is hope, and it starts with the Greek mythological creature called a chimera, a hybrid of various animals. According to a CNN article of August 2016, scientists have been working on harvesting human organs inside of animals. So today, we will look at the organ transplant problem, then move on to the science behind the chimera innovation, and finally, visit the implications of this research. But first, let's understand the problem. As of September 2016, organdonor.gov states the most coveted organs include the liver, heart, and lungs. However, the wait list, illustrated by the orange line, continues to rapidly increase, while the blue and green line, representing the number of donors and transplants performed year to year, fails to match the growth, as evidenced by the gap. Organdonor.gov further illustrates that the supply for organs was only met by 30%. Moreover, of the 30%, 4 out of 5 donors were deceased. So, in order for the gap to close between the over-demand and limited supply, does this mean we need to kill off more people? Not quite. As told by Greek mythology, a chimera is a hybrid of a lion, serpent, and goat. While the Greek chimera caused much destruction, our human animal chimera is on its way towards life-saving lab-grown organs. Next, let's focus on the human-animal gene editing process, the science behind it all. The National Geographic on January 2017 announced that an international team of researchers led by the Salk Institute has successfully created a chimera, an organism that contains cells from 2 different species. The Salk Institute team chose to work with pigs because of the relatively short gestation or time it takes their embryo to develop from conception to birth, and because their organs look a lot like ours. Zhou, lead of the team, explains that the chimera process by first introducing one animal's cells into the embryo of another using a gene editing technique called CRISPR. The team discovered through trial and error that in order to introduce human cells into the pigs without killing them, the timing had to be just right. CRISPR begins by first deleting genes of the pig needed to grow certain organs. Then second, injecting those just right human stem cells into the adult pigs, which then carry the embryo between 3 and 4 weeks before they're removed and analyzed. Here, you can see the pig's lungs are filtering human blood. The lungs have been modified with human genes using CRISPR so that the lungs now containing human and animal pig can oxygenate to then pump blood to the rest of the body. As I mentioned before, the Greek chimera blazed trails of destruction. It was only defeated by the hero Bellerophon, who shot a lump of metal while riding on Pegasus' back. The Greeks don't have to worry about their chimera anymore, but we have some concerns about our modern day one. We now need to look into the implications of this bold but daring research. The first implication surrounds the level of human and animal makeup. Pablo Ross, a reproductive biologist at UC Davis, tells BBC News on June 2016, there is a chance human cells might migrate to the pig's brain and in some way make it more human. As a result, this blurs the line of just how human the chimera really is. Since the percent makeup of each is still unknown, the ambiguous moral status of the chimera brings us to our second implication of government funding. According to the Washington Post, on January 2017, the National Institutes of Health released a policy stating that taxpayer money can be used to fund this research. If the government will be funding interspecies research, the questions faced include, does the human pig have the right to life? Is it an animal or a human embryo, or just something in between? So today, we examine the need for human-animal chimeras, the science behind the innovation, and the implications of the research. NPR of May 2016 highlights the boldest hope so far is to create an animal farm with human organs ready to be transplanted into patients. The potential benefits are enormous, and although the research is ongoing, human-animal chimeras could be routine to even replacing our aging organs, allowing us to live longer, healthier lives. This would be the biomedical advances the Perez family and many more transplant patients have been waiting for. The line they were waiting in just got a little shorter.